Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Cheyenne.
And I'm Heather.
And on today's murder menu is...
Randy Kraft, the Scorecard Killer, the Freeway Killer, and the South Carolina Strangler. California. We're off to a good start.
Oh, really good. So he's one of the 3 Freeway Killers.
Yes.
Which you guys will get a hint of one of the other Freeway Killers eventually because we did Patrick Carney.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's that. But first, some trigger warnings.
Murder, essay, sodomy, and graphic language.
Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, wow, puppy. Randy Stephen Kraft, born on March 19th, 1945, in Long Beach, California, to his mother, Opal Kraft, and Harold. I don't know how the hell I got Arnold on it. Harold Herbert Kraft. Oh,
that's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it is. His family picked up and moved to Orange County when Kraft was just 3 years old. He adjusted well, fit right in, was later considered to be very intelligent, testing with an IQ of 129. So yes, very smart.
Yeah, very smart.
So he had a pretty normal childhood. There was really nothing out of the ordinary to jump out and scream monster, but he did some pretty fucked up shit.
He graduated high school in 1963 and then enrolled into Claremont Men's College and went and joined the Reserve Officer Training Corps. We have also been doing a lot of military people, too. Have you noticed that?
See, I don't really want to touch on that one.
Oh, my God.
I ain't trying to piss people off. Yeah, but
I know.
Here's the thing. Never mind. We'll get... You just keep reading. We'll get into it.
And for a while, he continued to stay conservative. But that all started to change when Kraft started to become more open about his sexuality and even getting a bartending job at a gay bar.
Mm-hmm. And Kraft started experimenting more with bondage and such. Well, shit. Here we go. Buckle up. For a brief time, he was stationed at Edwards Air Force Base, but was discharged on medical grounds. And in 1970, Kraft would become a computer programmer. Who would have thunk?
Yeah.
But who would have thunk he was gay either? Or thought he was gay. A little bit of a higher accent be coming out there a little bit.
Kraft would rather young, gay, Caucasian men, teenage boys to mid-20s. He typically targeted hitchhikers, runaways, or men he'd pick up in gay bars. A good bit of his victims were military officers who were hitchhiking.
So this is where I was going out with that before I stopped. So he would frequent, if I'm understanding it right, he would frequent like close by military bases and pick up military men, which Dad used to say it wasn't uncommon for, men to just pack up when they were ready to go home and hitchhike, to the bus stop or, it just wasn't uncommon. So and with his military background, he instantly knew that. Bless you, baby. He instantly knew how to pick his victims. It's just he liked them young. He didn't go over 20. After he picked them up, he would drug them or get them drunk, and then he would bind them, torture them by burning their face, chest, and genitals using a car cigarette lighter. He then sexually assaulted them and killed them in different ways, some by strangulation, asphyxiation, bludgeoning them, or even a combination of torture and drugs. Like he wasted zero. Like he knew what he wanted, and it was not your simple in and out, wham bam, thank you ma'am, and then strangle.
Right.
Like it was not. He got off really just doing whatever he could to the bodies. At least they were alive this time. Well, for a short period of time.
Yeah, but would you want to be?
I don't know. Because, like, we're, like, dead. At least he don't play with dead things. Well, not fully. All the other victims all the other killers that we've managed to record here lately like to play with dead things.
Yeah.
But he just downright used and abused his power.
Yeah.
This part next is gonna.
He would castrate them as a method of torture or post-mortem, then mutilate and dismember them. He photographed his victims while they were unconscious or dead. He'd also keep detailed records of his victims on a sheet of paper, even giving them nicknames for each one.
Yeah, which I think we get into some of the nicknames. But castrating them, like, what the fuck is the point in that?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. If he was so open about, like, bondage and his sexuality, why castrate?
Right.
He would dispose of their bodies near highways in Southern California. Some of his victims were even found with objects inserted into their rectum, which usually was a sock. That's a new one.
Here recently, we have been doing a lot of these murders that like butt stuff. Oh, God.
Heather, he's gay.
I know that.
How is he gonna like any other stuff but butt stuff?
Just because you're gay, you don't shove socks in people's butts.
Okay, no, you don't typically do that. But he is gay, so, like, he's gonna have a fetish with butts.
I mean, normal butt stuff's okay. But not shoving a sock.
No, ma'am. Exit only. And no, ma'am. The victims were found barefoot, and then some would be found fully clothed. Speculation is Kraft had a foot fetish. Ew. I mean, ugh. Whoa. Kraft.
I bet you would have enjoyed Feet Finder. Just saying.
Bitch. Oh.
Moving on.
The things if he would have been born in our time, or like the things that he could have paid OnlyFans to do the shit that he wanted, and he wouldn't even have had to kill him.
Yeah.
He just would have had to subscribe to him. They would willingly shove socks in their buttholes.
Right.
If he paid enough money. Not me, no ma'am. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No.
Kraft would even leave bite marks, usually around the genitals or nipples. Once again, what the fuck's with the nipples?
I don't know.
If you are a serial killer, you need to, like, let us know what the fuck's the fetish with the nipples.
Well, if you're a serial killer, please don't contact us.
Oh, come on. I really want to know what the fetish is with nipples. Do you have mommy issues? Like, what the fuck is the deal with nipples?
I mean, I think this is a first that we've covered a gay guy that likes nipples.
Okay, gay guy that likes nipples, but not the first serial killer that has a habit of doing things to the nipples.
No, the last one we had that did stuff with nipples was pretty nasty.
Which one was it? Was it the Toolbox Killer? Or no, it was
I don't know.
the Gainesville Killer.
I don't know. All I know is he liked to chop people's nipples
That
off.
was the Gainesville?
Yes.
Like, what the fuck is your guys' fascination with the nipples? They are not that fascinating. They're not.
No, nipples are very ugly.
You wanna see what nipples look like? Just go get some pepperonis or something. They're not fascinating. They're not.
And I'm sure there's a way to look at nipples without killing someone.
Sure. I mean, I just want to know if the biting was before he killed them. Like, was that during like
if it was pre-mortem or post-mortem?
Yeah. Like, was it more of like during sexual activities? Because that's kind of different. Although I wouldn't want anybody biting on my vagine. I mean, I could get that. Like, I can understand that, but like doing it when they were dead, like or unconscious, like what the fuck's the point in that? They ain't feeling it. It's different. I give them credit.
Investigators thought... Yeah, definitely. Investigators thought at one time the string of dead bodies left on along the highway was the work of one individual, but they had soon learned it was the work of 3 killers. Randy Kraft was just one of the 3 freeway killers.
Yeah, because weren't they all 3 like killing around the same time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were all 3 killing around the same time.
And don't quote me, but I'm fairly certain MOs were kind of the same.
Which is very weird.
Makes you kind of wonder if they weren't competing with one another. It's not uncommon.
Right.
There's, I think it's the Long Beach Killer, or the Long Island Killer. I can't remember, but it's a documentary where a couple of the serial killers were actually in competition with one another. So it just makes you kind of wonder, like, my kill was better than your kills. Boo-boo. Fucking sick fucks. Kraft's killings are believed to have started in 1971 with the victim Wayne Joseph Duke. Kraft was never charged or convicted for his murder. Which we're going to go over some of his victims at the end. Because there's a lot of them. And then there's a lot of them that are suspected victims.
Kraft was first arrested on speculation of murder suspicion of murder when the severed head of one of his victims, Keith Courtwell, was found near Long Beach Marina. Kraft was suspected because Keith was seen getting into Kraft's car.
That was a tongue twister.
That was a very bad tongue twister. Kraft was brought in for questioning as a suspect, but due to lack of evidence, he was released.
That's crazy. The amount of serial killers that they bring in and just walk out. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, eventually they catch them, but, like, they don't catch them usually on the first go, which is crazy.
Mhm.
But that just has to give them, like, a head rush. Kraft was caught for the last time when a highway patrol officer pulled him over on May 14th of 1983 for driving under the influence. When the officer shined his light into the car, he saw what appeared to be a man sleeping in the back seat. But upon further investigation, the officer found the man to be dead. Uh-oh. There was signs of foul play. 25-year-old Terry Gambler, a U.S. Marine officer. Oh, I guess he does go over 25. U.S. Marine officer would be Kraft's final victim. Kraft strangled him with his own belt.
So he just drives around with dead people in his car?
He pulled him over for drinking, so like he probably was partying with the victim and got too drunk and then killed him and was going to dispose of his body and got pulled over.
That makes sense. With a search warrant, the police found tranquilizers and prescription drugs inside the car, as well as 47 photographs of young men which appeared to be sleeping or dead. In pornographic poses, they also found blood in his car as well.
Yeah. So, I think the blood was found on the passenger seat, which is crazy that you would kill the victims in your car. That's really crazy. But not uncommon. A search of Kraft's home, police found more evidence, including items of past victims, including a scorecard, which I guess it's going to give you a couple of nicknames now, including a scorecard. I want to say code, but it's not a scorecard. It's scorecard, where he listed his victims with nicknames and locations, and even personal habits such as deodorant, New Year's, and even Iowa.
Kraft later claimed the terms on the list referred to sexual encounters he had had.
Oh, where'd you meet him? Oh, I met him in the deodorant aisle. Where'd you meet him? Oh, I met him in New Year's.
Yeah.
That's weird. Alrighty then. I ain't never heard of a sexual encounter with New Year's in it. Or deodorant. Oh, I don't really want to know.
Maybe the guy was wearing a strong deodorant when he met him.
But it says sexual encounters. Like, how the fuck you gonna have a sexual, like, New Year?
Maybe when he was, yeah.
Yeah, I get it now. Cheyenne.
We've both had them moments, so it's all good.
So,
later,
by the end.
By the end of everything, Kraft was charged with 16 murders, which he listed a few like Airplane Hill, who was not identified until 1995, who was Kevin Clark Bailey.
That's crazy. Like, sir, can you tell me who Airplane Hill is? No. Can you tell me why Airplane? No. Oh, it's Kevin Clark Bailey. All right.
So, this dude is just, I don't know. He's all over the place.
Ooh, for a genius, he sure is stupid. I give him that. He was found guilty on all 16 counts, as well as sodomy, as also torture. Kraft was sentenced to death, and while on death row, he was able to meet one of the other freeway killers, William Bowen.
Mm-hmm.
And Kraft is currently still on death row at the age of 79 in San Quentin prison.
Of course he is.
But how? So he gets to live on death row with William Bowen, and they can share sick fantasies. That's alrighty then. Which I'm gonna go ahead and pull up a list of his victims, just so we can kind of go over. I just didn't. we can go over some of them.
He was not a very good looking
No. But,
guy. I'm not a judgmental person, but
he's not really my cup of tea. But, but that would probably explain why he had to get him drunk. Alright, so March 1970, Joseph Alwyn Fancher, 13, drugged, sodomized, but not killed. Hold on. What are you doing here? Let's go to this one. Maybe this one. Okay. So Richard Power, Berkeley, and Elizabeth Baracco El Cajon. Okay. So Orange County jury convicted defendant Randy Stevens Kraft of first-degree murder of Edward Daniel Moore, count 1, John Doe Huntington Beach, count 2, Ronald Green, count 3, Keith Davin Portwell, which he was mentioned in here, which was count 4, Mark Howard Hall, count 5, Scott Michael Hughes, count 6, Ronald Gerald Young, count 7, Richard Allen Keith, count 8, Keith Arthur Kleinbell, count 9, Michael Joseph, count 11, Donald Harold Chrysley, count 12, Robert Wyatt Longins Jr., count 13, Eric Herbert Church, count 14, Alan Nielsen, count 16, Roger James Duvall Jr., count 18, and Terry Lee Gamble, count 19. That's crazy. Okay, so he was convicted of sodomy, inflicting mayhem on Nelson, count 15. The jury found true and allegations that defendant had personally inflicted great bodily injury in committing sodomy against, I don't even know how to say the word, in the related special circumstances allegation of murder in the commission of sodomy with respect to counts 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, and 19. The jury also found true special circumstances allegations of multiple murders. The jury acquitted defendant of the charge of sodomy against Duvall, count 17, which is bullshit, and related special circumstances. Okay. So he was only convicted of murdering 16 of them.
Which, that's still a lot.
6 of the victims were United States Marines. Most were killed by strangulation, ligature marks on their wrists. Defendant sexually mutilated some of the victims, engaged in sexual activity with some of them, and left their bodies of some victims unclothed. Most victims had alcohol and prescription drugs, most frequently diazepam, okay, which is sold as Valium, in their systems at the time of death. Defendant left the bodies of most of the victims near the freeway and other roads. Physical evidence linked defendant to 8 of the murders, but with respect to the remainder, the prosecutor relied on the sole. Okay, so basically, to spare, he only did the ones that he knew he could convict. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so basically this guy, why didn't he get the death penalty?
Why didn't he?
Yeah.
He's on death row.
Well, he'll probably live out on death row. Why the fuck isn't he dead already?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. It's a shut and closed fucking case. Like, you're guilty. You done it. Deuces.
Yeah. It really pisses me off that they keep people on death row for so long.
He raped.
I'm impartial on the death penalty. I don't think it's something that should be taken lightly.
No,
I mean,
here's the thing.
If you have definitive proof that somebody did it,
here's the
then
thing.
by all means.
I completely agree with you. I'm for the death penalty, but I'm also kind of against it because there are certain people who are guilty without a shadow of a doubt and deserve the death penalty. Exactly. But then you have certain cases where did they do it? There's reasonable doubt. I don't like reasonable doubt.
Yeah, if there's reasonable doubt, then no. Keep them on there. Keep them on there. Like, keep them on death row until you can do it without definitive proof.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
But in this case, there's no doubt that he did what he did.
Oh, no, there's no doubt whatsoever.
Give him the needle.
Yeah, because God forbid electrocution, you might get off.
Yeah.
Literally. I just don't understand why they would just pay to keep somebody on death row. I get if there's holes in the case,
a waste of space.
There's really not holes in the case.
No.
That's my thing. There's really nothing. There's no. And we have been doing a lot of military ones lately.
We really have.
Kind of makes me leery about if we're going to get into some with badges.
They're out there. We just haven't came across them yet.
Like, I'm for the military. Like, back the blue, back the red, white, and blue, back the soldiers. But there are some sick, twisted individuals. And I would like to know what medical condition. I think at that time he probably got kicked out on Psycho. Because he was fucking smart. So it was either something physical or something mental. Because he was fucking smart.
Well, and at one point in time, being gay was considered a mental illness.
I mean, would they really kick somebody out willing to go die?
Yeah. Yeah. There was a certain time, I don't know if it was at this point in time.
Right.
But at a certain time, if you were gay or anything, you could not be in the military.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's why they invoked the don't ask, don't tell policy.
Oh, look at you go, because I did not know that.
Yeah, because you weren't allowed, because they associated that with feminine. And they didn't want feminine people.
They didn't want a gay guy holding a gun. Which there's nothing wrong with that. They can legit they're no different than anybody, honestly. They're human too. I guess that could have been something. I didn't really think of that. I mean, because you are correct. That would be considered a medical problem. Which is weird.
Yeah, they considered it. Well, back then, they considered pretty much anything a mental illness.
Everything but postpartum.
Yeah.
Men were crybabies. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, guys. Although they were very douchebaggery with he's gay, he likes guys, he can't be in our platoon. Whatever. You probably secretly look at penises anyway. They probably do. They all shower together. You're just closet gay. It's okay. Nobody cares. Well, that's going to be a wrap on this week's episode. Once again, I'm Cheyenne.
And I'm Heather.
Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Don't forget to check us out on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Audible, Podbean. If you guys want to hear certain content, you can check us out send us a DM on Facebook, Insta, or leave a comment. But that's going to be a wrap, so that's going to be a new
episode
Sunday.
Bye.